Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation. And for the censors out there that guard the community guidelines, we want to always let you know that we 100% stay within the community guidelines because we only quote from medical studies. Nothing that I'm saying is not backed by peer-reviewed human medical studies, which are in the public domain, and everybody can view them, including you. The idea here is we're educators. There's nothing to buy on our website. We're simply educating people about the latest and greatest scientific proof. I've written 4 best-selling books to some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on public broadcasting, and over 1,500 live lectures around the world. I pride myself on original research content, which I've been doing for 23 years. So I always like to let you know that we stay, anything we're saying is backed by medical proof that's in the public domain. So, wow, a lot of people joined already. So we got Tajender, we got Sharia. So let's go here and take a look at this. So how many of you would like to know how she lost 21 pounds safely in 30 days while gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass? Would anybody like to know that? Are you curious, any of you? Shira or Linda or Explore, Fishing, Catherine, lots and lots of people. And can we get some taps on that screen to get some likes going? Hello, Richard Romero. So again, this is the thing that I'm going to tell you about this. A, it's not a diet. B, it's not about counting calories. And C, there was no exercise involved. It was invented by the top top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the entire world. And they're the ones that did this. If you're at all interested, in finding out how she did this, then I suggest you hang around for a few minutes because I'm going to go over exactly what she did, how she did it, and why it works. But again, she's one of many people in these studies that are going to change the world. I will tell you this right now, that the average weight loss on this is about 5 pounds a week. That's the normal weight loss. There's more than that. Some are double, some are up to 10 pounds a week. I'm going to show all of that to you in a moment. Again, it's not a diet. It's not about counting calories, and there was no exercise involved. It's so revolutionary. It took 40 years, 100 studies by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And the results are now published in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world. And these results are going to make everything you ever thought about diet, exercise, nutrition out the window. And I don't say that lightly. The medical proof is overwhelming, it's astounding, and it just shows that medical science figured out finally how to crack the code on obesity and being overweight. So again, if any of you are interested, I'm going to go over this in just a moment or two. So we got Ben D1, we got R Ronnie, we got Hi Hilo 8142 Rainbow Tortilla, we got Fuzzy, we got Vera Cruz, we got you and me Deem. Is Vera Cruz like in California? Penny Wheatley, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so let's get into this. So first, she actually lost 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches in 30 days with no exercise. And if you look at her stomach, you can see the tremendous change in her stomach. We'll get into all that in a moment. It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. And there was no exercise involved because the researchers didn't want to exercise. Otherwise, they said it would be an outlier. In other words, you'd be thinking that she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No diet and exercise. Let's take a look at one of the next women. 35 pounds in 37 days. 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise. Look at how much she shrank, literally shrank. You all can see it there, all right? And then this is the daughter of a friend of mine. How about 60 pounds or 30 kilos if you're in the UK or in New Zealand or Australia, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. That is not photoshopped in any mad stretch of the imagination. Now, you know, one of the things that happens is when you get older, it's really hard to lose weight, right? Well, wait till you see this next one. This gentleman's about 65 years old. Look at this, everybody. He lost 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in just 30 days. And all of this is backed by peer-reviewed human trial and published in the biggest medical journals in the world. So we're not making any claims. We can back it all up because it's actually in the medical journals. So let's come back over here and let's talk about how in the world, I'm not sure what language you're speaking of at Papaya. I have no idea. Anyway, someone's talking in a foreign language that I have no idea what it is. Anyway, oh, you're talking in 3 months over there. Yes, ISIS. Yes, exactly. Is that Lysis? Yes. So who would like to know how she did this and how she's been able to keep it off for 8 or 9 years? And the fact that she didn't lose any water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Is that just crazy good? So first let's start and let's talk about who in the world invented this. It was invented by what are considered ranked the #1 weight loss nutritional researchers in the world. They'd done over 100 studies for 40 years, and they pretty much found that they never found a diet in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off. Now, a couple of questions I want to ask you. I want to know, says Shapri. I got it. I would love to know, says Teresa. I promise I'm going to share with you. Now, let's establish a few things. Number one, I'm not just some guy, and I'm not telling you this to impress you. I've been 23 years a nutritional researcher. I've done 20 shows on public broadcasting. I've written 4 best-selling books to some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, and over 1,500 live lectures around the world in hospitals, universities, towns. They even flew me to China. I'm not telling you that to impress you, but I want to let you know that everything I'm going to share with you comes from medical research. Now, the reason that's so important, in case you didn't know, the highest level you can go in medical investigation is a peer-reviewed human trial study. Not only is this protocol what they did, it is now published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world based on their peer-reviewed human trial studies on human beings like her. Now let's talk about what they did. The researchers figured out over 40 years, 100 studies, no diet ever worked long-term. I assume a lot of you have experienced the yo-yo effect and you probably thought it was your fault or the wrong diet. The researchers prove that the whole premise behind calories in, calories out is completely flawed because the human body has no idea what a calorie even is. So the main thing I want to do is I want to educate you and blow up all the myths around current diet trends, calories in, calories out, etc. Well, here's the biggest problem with that. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. If you're counting calories, you might as well be counting sheep, all right? So what the researchers said, we got to change the dynamics. And what they did, they said, we're going to pick out foods with one criteria: high levels of nutrition. So they made a grocery list that she took that you would get. This sounds too simple, but it's really not. They figured out no more calorie counting at all. So on this, you're not going to count calories. You're going to get serving sizes, and you're going to start about 30% of whatever amount you spent on food last month. You're only going to spend 30% on the food this month from your grocery store, organic, and you're going to buy proteins, fats, carbs, fruits and vegetables, but you're going to get serving sizes, not calories. You got that? The other 70%, and here's why no diet could ever touch this. The other 70% were from researchers who'd spent 20 years going around the world to areas like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. So now they had the foods that she was going to consume. Now, the next thing they did, they created a new way of eating based on these large amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. She did lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. Don't even think about being hungry, because nobody was hungry. See, your hunger does not come from lack of calories. No way. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. So anybody that's telling you that dieting is about calories in, calories out is lying. There's no medical proof to back it up. The only thing, you're alive because of 3 things, and one of them is not calories: air, water, and what? Nutrition. I'm going to explain to you right now why diets don't work and how these researchers change that dynamic. When you go on a diet, think about what you're doing. You're reducing the quantity of food you're consuming. Like if you're doing the shot, that's what happens. We'll talk about the shots a little bit later. Okay, so watch what happens. When your brain senses you reduce the food, they don't care about that, the brain, I mean, but it cares about nutrition. When the brain senses there's not enough nutrition, it freaks out, goes in starvation mode, because you're starving from a nutritional standpoint of view. Don't kid yourself. So the brain stops accessing the fuel in your fat cell, and for survival begins to convert your muscles into fuel. One of the most unhealthy things you could ever happen to yourself, because as you begin to lose lean muscle, your brain doesn't have a choice. It slows down your metabolism. That's why you're plateauing on these diets. That's why you're coming off the diets. And 2/3 of you are going to weigh more than when you started. I don't care what the name of the diet is. The other thing it's doing to you by losing lean muscle is slowing down your own metabolism. So you're literally making yourself unhealthy by going on these diets, calories in, calories out. That's why the researchers came up and said, we got to change this and concentrate only on nutrition. So the principle was, all right, we're going to let her have 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. Okay? But 2 days a week, and here's what made it work. This, first and foremost, isn't a diet, everybody. It's a detox. And I can prove, well, the meat researchers proved it. I don't have to prove it. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving this was removing chemicals from the body. So 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods. And this time, she was having these nutrients about every hour and a half. over the course of 12 or 14 hours. Diabetics on this, there were no insulin spikes. Let me tell you these are the medical results. I have them right here. Wait till you hear this, what they found. First of all, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved this was removing chemicals from the body. That was number one. Number two, for the first time in history, they showed this lowered inflammation, which we all suffer from, by 25% in 30 days. But also, fat went down 11%, muscle mass increased 6 to 9%, blood sugar went down 6.2%. The need for insulin went down 41%, cholesterol down 15%, LDL, the bad cholesterol, down 13%, triglycerides dropped 24%. Most women on this lost a whole dress size in a week. Men lost 2 to 4 inches off their waist in a week. In a week, not in a month, in a week. This is going to change the world. Now, the other parts of this is these pictures were 8 or 9 years ago. They've kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what should excite all of you. Does this sound crazy to all of you, or does this sound like it's cool? Now, the other thing we do for you, Peressa or Teresa or Rocco, any of the people that are asking about this, do you see right above her head there in blue? Can you give me a yes if you see that? The New Health Conversation. That's the free medical website. Everything I'm talking about is backed up medically. You even get to see the studies. So let me show you. You go to Google, you type in the New Health Conversation. I want to prove to you there's nothing on that website to buy. So look, the New Health Conversation, it'll come up in the search engine. Click on the New Health Conversation, and there's the website. There's nothing to buy on that website. Only thing there is the medical proof, including number one is an exclusive podcast with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. Look, number three, you actually can access and see the medical studies. We're out in the open on all of this stuff. This website is free to go. This website, we will not contact you. But if you like what you see, you can scroll down and get a free coach. Look, it says, see it in black, free coaching to ensure your success. I know it sounds too good to be true. But are you curious about how many of you would be excited about losing 5 pounds a week on average? She's not the only one. Look at my friend's daughter. 60 pounds in 3 months. That's 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. 60 pounds. And she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. And then, as you get older, it's really hard to lose weight. Look at this. 40.8 pounds and 52.5 inches in 30 days. I'll give you another example. Look at Ken here. 34 pounds in 29 days. Look at the change in his body composition, everybody. That's with no exercise. Are you trying to tell me any diet any of you are on even comes close to anything like this? Look at that. And they're all keeping it off. You know what the researchers call this? R2M, race to maintenance. Now, what you all need to understand is that we're living in an incredibly toxic world. As a matter of fact, we all suffer from this new medical syndrome. Hopefully you can all read it. The TDOS syndrome. What does it stand for? The T is for toxins embedded in our fat cells. The D is for the lack of nutrition in our food, causing us to be overweight and stressed. It's a registered trademark of a new medical syndrome, U.S. Patent Office. Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, that's me. I did discover it. So again, I'm not just some guy. Now, another thing I want to show you for credibility. This is the June 9th issue of Women's World, magazine, the number one women's magazine in the world. The 2 women on the cover, I coached them. The daughter is a nurse, 57 years old. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months. Her mom, who was 78 at the time, lost over 100 pounds in a year, and they both kept it off for 3 years. Now you can notice the headline, over 50 protein miracle. But then I'm going to zoom in. Maybe you can see that there. Powerful new eating pattern will take off weight faster than anything else you've ever tried. That's the magazine endorsing this. This is not an advertisement. This is a news story in the magazine, and they wrote a huge article on it. Let me find it here. I always have trouble getting to the page. There's the article, everybody. It's on the June 9th. You can order it online or look at it online. New Protein Miracle Diet. That's the magazine, the number one women's magazine, endorsing this. All I ask all of you, or I ask you the question, why wouldn't you go to the website? It's free to go there. It's only the medical proof, and we won't contact you if you go there. The other thing I should tell you as part of this, so you're going to take whatever you spent on food last month, about 30% of that, you're going to buy groceries from the grocery store with a list that we're going to give you that the researchers gave everybody gets them, the research, I mean, the list. The other 70% of your money you're going to spend on these exotic foods around the world. But those researchers, that 70% you're going to spend, they'll give you a 100% money back guarantee in the first 30 days. So if you go to the website and you decide you want to coach, it'll say 100% money back guarantee. But I always want to be clear, 30% of what you're spending from your grocery store, they're not going to refund your broccoli and your spinach and whatever else you got. But that's how serious. Now listen, nothing's 100%. I would never be that stupid to say something like that. But this is damn near 100%. It's so rare when anybody ever asks for their money back. No questions asked. They get their money back. Okay. So who else? Does that make sense? S.H. Peressa, Teresa, you're saying yes. And Teresa and Peressa, you understand the website right above her head. You can go, The New Health Conversation. Are you clear on that? Are you excited about the possibility? And I don't even know, I don't know you ladies. I don't know if you want to lose weight. Listen, everyone, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, Hashimoto's, hyperthyroidism. We have a man with a heart transplant, people with kidney transplants. We have people with no gallbladders. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases. Don't hear us say that. All we're doing is sharing with you what's published in the public domain. You all can go look at it. I'd love for any of you to tell me, Teresa or any of you, can you tell me an influencer you're following that showed you one shred of medical advice? I'm not talking about an opinion. I'm not talking about a scientific paper. I'm not talking about before and afters. I'm talking about like this, published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. I haven't seen it. So you're all entrusting your health via your weight to people giving you opinions. And they're nice people. I see medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists. I see fitness people, health coaches, weight loss coaches. But if what they had was so great, how come they can't get published in these big medical journals? Why? Because the claims they're telling you to accept are unsubstantiated, meaning there's no proof behind it. Listen, everybody, I'm going to read to you 2 big studies. So you can all look this up. Tracy Mann, M-A-N-N. She's a professor at UCLA and more recently now at University of Minnesota. One of the top weight loss experts in the world for over 30 years. Listen to this big study that they concluded. A landmark UCLA meta-analysis by Tracy Mann and her colleagues published in the American Psychologist reviewed 31 long-term studies on calorie-restricted diets and exposed the harsh truth. What was the harsh truth? The analysis concluded that dieting itself predicts future weight gain. You're going on a diet to gain weight. Hate to tell you, but that's what's going on. It's so absurd. We keep going down this path. And this is what's so unbelievable. This is Johns Hopkins Medical School, everybody. Title of the study. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. Did you hear what I just said? They're projecting in 4 years that 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese. Do you really think diets work? Do you really think 6 months from now you're going to weigh less than you do now? You all know you've gone on diets now, but I explained to you medically why, of course, you're going to gain all the weight back. You're losing lean muscle, which slowed your metabolism down. And you don't come off the diet and eat normal and think your metabolism turns back on. No, the best example is the biggest loser. What a disaster it is for those poor contestants. They lost 125 or 50 pounds. They've gained it all back and now they can't lose weight because they damaged their own metabolism. They put them on 600 calories a day and worked them out 6 hours a day. It's just sad. It's just sad. But you're all doing versions of the same thing. You're going in these diets and counting calories. Your buddy has no idea what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Please, someone tell me in the chat. I'd love to know. And keep tapping. We got 1,400 likes. I love that. Hello, Jojo. So who else would like to ask me a question? Hello, Brandy Dickens. This is real, everybody. And I can say that because the results are published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. It's not my opinion. I'm not giving you an opinion. Again, who else would like to ask me a question about how she did this? Are you curious? Are you not curious? Teresa, I'm assuming you know where to go. And also LSL Sis, you know where to go if you want to see the medical proof. But of the new people coming, who would like to know how she did this? Would you like to know how she did this or not? We got 1,600 likes, so we're doing some good. I can see that right away. Does your method account for... Oh my God, yes, Mimi. It's wonderful for menopause or premenopause. Wonderful. PCOS. Now, again, I'm not going to make any medical claims, but again, if you are in menopause, one of the things I'd want you to put in the chat, if you decide to get a coach, is you're in menopause, we'll get you a coach, a woman who's been through menopause and coach people in menopause. You know, us guys, we know about it, but obviously you'd be more comfortable with a woman, especially if you're dealing with something like menopause. Does that make sense? Because keep in mind, Mimi, one of the things that's exacerbating your menopause is the fact that we're all storing chemicals in our fat cells. See, as we're drinking, breathing in chemicals, whether you know it or not, your body, as they enter, takes the chemical and stuffs it inside your fat cells, specifically the visceral fat around the midsection. But look at her stomach. Can you see that? In her hips? Wait, let me get out of the way. Look at her hips. Look at how she shrank. That's 30 days with no exercise. That's because this is a detox. Don't kid yourself, it's a detox. Now, why can I say that? Because they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving this is assisting the body in removing chemicals from the body. And those fat cells, which were housing the chemicals, it shrank. Because think of a chemical like air inside of a balloon. Does that make sense? And don't let anybody tell you burn fat on any diet or exercise program. That's a complete fabrication. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and your fat cells expand or contract. And most of you, almost all of you, tell us it's not just how much weight you've gained, even if it's 20, 30 pounds, it's the amount of fat that you now have that you didn't have before. Your body's trying to protect you by storing the chemicals in your fat cells. Does that make sense, Mimi? Brandy Dickens, I'm going to explain it to you, I promise. Give me a second, Mandy. Brandy, sorry. So I wanted to answer Mimi. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to explain to everybody, what did she do? Okay, first of all, it was invented, just to let you know, Brandy, not by me, but by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, voted the #1 in the world. They had done 100 studies over 40 years of every diet you could find. And sadly, they never found a diet. Not only did people not lose weight and keep it off, but 2/3 of people gained more than they lost. And also, when they did the measurements of the weight you lose on any diet, Brandy, 25 to 40% is your lean muscle mass. That's the downfall of the diet. When you lose lean muscle, your body slows down your metabolism. That's why you gain all the weight back. So now you understand why the yo-yo doesn't work. So the researchers said, we got to stop that. They don't want any calorie counting on this protocol. None, zero. What? Because see, the human body has no idea what a calorie is. We've all been lied to that it's calories in, calories out. There's never been a study showing that calories in, calories out works long term, ever. No study ever in history. So the researchers said, we're going to do something different. First, we're going to find foods with one criteria, Brandy and everybody else, high levels of nutrition. Because you're alive because of air, water, not calories is the third thing, nutrition. And when you go on a diet, Brandy, or any of you, what you're doing, you're reducing the quantity of the food you're consuming. And by definition, what are you reducing? Nutrition. When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition, it immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel and slows down your metabolism. That's why you gain everything back. So what they did, they first 30%, only 30% of the food you would buy, whatever you spent last month on food, whatever the number was, take 30% of that, you're going to go to your grocery store, wherever you live in the world, and you're going to get proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But the researchers are giving you serving sizes of those, not calories. For example, if it's steak, they want you to get steak or hamburger that has to be what's called grass-fed and finished, not just grass-fed. That's very important. But all this is laid out. You don't have to figure it out, okay? So those are, but only 30% of what you consume in a month would come from your grocery store. Now, here's what made it work and why nothing you can do like this. The other 70% of what you would buy and consume doesn't come from your country, probably. It comes from these exotic locations in Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, in Nepal, South America, New Zealand. And they found, these other researchers, by the way, found these huge amounts of nutrients in these very small amounts of food. So now they had the foods that she was going to ingest, right? 30% from the grocery store and 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Then, based on nutrition now, they created new ways of eating. It's called protein pacing. It's so advanced, they got a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office for this way of eating. So 5 days a week, Brandy, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world, no food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. Not optional. In other words, 4 meals a day. They tried it with 3 meals. They tried it with 2 meals. It didn't work. It had to be the spacing of the nutrition over about 10 or 12 hours that really made a difference. Only 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store. What? Don't panic. Only these exotic foods around the world. But this time they were having her eat something, these exotic nutrients 8 times a day. So every hour and a half, she was having these. The diabetics on this, there were no insulin spikes. But let me give you the medical results, Brandy, of what happened in the first month. First of all, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved number one thing this was doing, and the number one thing it is a detox. It's not a diet. It is a detox. And they proved that this was removing, or the body was able to remove herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and these chemicals that were stored in our fat cells, which is why you have that bloating in the first place, right? Well, they saw huge deductions in the chemicals. Secondly, inflammation, which plagues you and me and everybody, it came down 25% in a month. But also things like muscle mass increased 6 to 9%. Blood sugar came down 6.2%. The need for insulin with the diabetics came down 41%. Cholesterol down 15%. LDL down 13%. Triglycerides down 24%. Most women reported losing a dress size in a week with no exercise allowed. Men were losing 2 to 4 inches off their waist in a week. Nobody was allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Now, why didn't they want them to exercise? Because otherwise you would say, oh, well, it was diet and exercise. That's why they lost weight. No exercise allowed. No calorie counting. Now, the key to this is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. So how simple is maintenance? These exotic foods around the world, that's breakfast. I had it this morning. I had a lunch. I'm actually going to a dinner party tonight to have my second meal. And then once every 2 months, I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. So does that make sense, Brandy? And Mimi, does that make sense to you as well? So Brandy, please, yes, Mimi, what about you, Brandy? Does that make sense? It's not a diet. And Brandy and Mimi, what you can do, see right above her head there in blue, Mimi, can you see that? The New Health Conversation. It's the free medical website where you can go. We won't contact you if you go there. But if you go there and you like what you see, you can scroll down, you get look, it says free coaching. The coaching is free, the 100% the whole time. There's no consultation fee. It's all free. They're going to coach you all the way to get you to maintenance and then show you how to maintain maintenance. They'll give you the grocery list you're going to take to your grocery store and show you, because you're not buying anything from them. There's no products here. This is food. And they're going to show you how to buy directly from those other researchers that had gone around the world. So what you're going to buy is food. And then you're going to learn a new way of eating. And how about these kind of results? That's 5 pounds a week, not 5 pounds a month, 5 pounds a week. How many of you would give anything to lose 5 pounds a week? Please put it in the chat for me. I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know. Is that pretty amazing? Considering most diets, you're lucky. Here's the rundown. I have a synopsis here. Let me find it. What did I do with it? So what they did, these are the top experts in the world, they sort of did a cross-section of diets, and all I got to do is find them here somewhere. Hold on. Okay, here it is. So this was sort of a summary of all the big diets. The title was The Grand Myth of Traditional Diets, a Devastating Cycle of Failure and False Promises. These are the researchers saying this now. Traditional diets, be they low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macro counting, obsessions, or the latest fad, time restricted eating, seduce millions with vows of dramatic weight loss and radiant health. But the brutal truth is etched in decades. 40 years of unyielding scientific evidence shatters this illusion. The diets deliver fleeting illusions of progress, followed by inevitable regain of all the weight, negligible long-term medical benefits, and the hidden toll on your body by reducing your lean muscle mass 25 to 40%, slowing down your metabolism and slowing down your own immune system. So this was the kind of the summary of all the types of diets and their results. So they looked at low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macro counting, and time restricted eating. Now this is in 12 months, everybody. Okay, this is hundreds and hundreds of people. So they found the least amount of weight loss that anybody lost in a year was about 11 pounds. That's not even a pound a month. The most amount of weight loss on any of these diets was 16 pounds in a year, which is about 1.25 pounds. So 1.4 ounces per month. Per month. That's what you're doing to yourselves. You may lose weight initially, but it's all going to come back because of 25 to 40%. Oh, they said that right here. Of every one of these diets, 25 to 40% was lean muscle mass between low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macrocarnivore, time restricted eating. What are you doing, everybody? And yet you can go and see medical proof at the New Health Conversation. She looks and they measured. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle, lost no water weight. Well, look at her stomach. Look at how much it shrank. Look at Curtis, 40 pounds, 52 inches in a month. Look at his stomach. I mean, this is not photoshopped. Or Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the difference in her body. Her body shrank. That's why I said most women, ladies, would you be excited about losing a whole dress size in a week with no exercise? And obviously, it's way more in a month. Isn't this exciting for everybody? So who else would like to ask me a question? We're stuck at 3,700 likes. So who wants to know, if you want to know how she lost 21 pounds safely in 30 days while gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, and it's published in 10, backed by 10 published peer-reviewed human trial studies in the biggest medical journals in the world. Aren't you, some of you, curious about that? Do you want to know how she did it? Or not? Or do you want to go back to counting calories and these miserable failures? All the diets just don't work. I mean, I got so many studies, but listen, everyone, here's Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. That's from Harvard Medical School. Here's what they said. Most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500 and you lose about 1 pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They went on to say, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what these researchers did, and they have no affiliation with Harvard, so don't make that wrong assumption. But all these big studies are saying the same thing. As a matter of fact, I have one here from, I'll find it. I know I will. Oh, here it is. All right, listen, everybody. This is from Medicare. All right. Title of the study: Medicare search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The researchers from Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, this is Medicare now, there is little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's Medicare telling you 2/3 of you, whatever diet you're on, you're going to gain more weight than you lost. I don't care what celebrity trainer, with all due respect to if it's a medical doctor, a chiropractor, a dietitian, a nutritionist, a fitness, how come they don't have one shred of medical evidence for what they're asking you to do? Not one shred of medical evidence. I'm happy. Explain to me. Do any of you know, have you seen any influences showing you peer-reviewed human trials? Our website, the New Health Conversation, is going to change. It's going to help so many people because it's free to go there. And we're not even going to contact you if you go there. You get to contact us. If you like what you see, you get a free coach. Free coaching. Guess how much the coaching is? $0. I know it sounds too good to be true, but we got coached. Does that make sense, everybody? Mom.com. How? Okay. I'm going to explain it to you right now, Mom. So, Mom, the very first thing, this was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They'd done 100 studies over 40 years, thousands of people, and concluded no diet ever worked long term. And the reason was calorie counting is the most ridiculous thing on the planet because the human body has no idea what a calorie is. So what they concentrated on is the only thing that makes any sense, and that is you're alive because of 3 things: air, water, and nutrition, not calories. So they said, the researchers said, after 40 years, we're abandoning, as a matter of fact, on this protocol, you don't count calories. They don't want you counting calories. They give you serving sizes, and they pick the foods. 30% of what you'd spend, you'd buy from your grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. You'd get a list and the serving sizes from all those people. Okay, got it? But only 30%. The other 70% comes from other researchers who had gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition that don't exist in whatever country you think you live in. So those were the foods they consumed. Then they created a whole new way of eating based on nutrition, not on calories, not on anything other than nutrition. So they let her 5 days a week. She had 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. Okay? It's so advanced that they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, of this new way of eating. And then 2 days a week, they did protein pacing. But this time, no food from the grocery store at all, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, she ate 8 times a day. She was having these feedings. A lot of times it was in a liquid form, either a soup or a tea, or sometimes it was the ingredients themselves. So it wasn't like she was preparing 8 meals a day. That's not how this works. And what happened in a month? Well, first of all, the diabetics, nobody had insulin spikes. Number two, in a month's time, people's hunger had gone down 41%. The biggest thing here was they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved that this was a detox. It was removing chemicals from her fat cells. If you look at her waist on day 1 and look at her waist on day 30, that's with no exercise allowed. Second thing that this did, they proved this lowered inflammation, which we all suffer from, by 25% in a month. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing a medical disease. All we're doing is reading to you from the medical studies, which are in the public domain, and you can actually see them if you go to the website, or you could Google them yourself. But we made it easy for you, and we supplied them on the website. The website's free. There's nothing to buy. We're not going to contact you. Only way we'll contact you is if you contact us. Now, the next thing that's so huge about this is maintenance. Those pictures are 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years now. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. Hard for me to believe, but I've kept the weight off for 23 years. This is going to make every single diet completely obsolete. So mom.com, does that give you an idea? Okay, how do you order the food from? L. Brooks, you go to the website. Let me show you L. Brooks. Go to Google. Everybody type in the New Health Conversation. And you'll see it's going to go to the website. It's going to go to Google. There it is, right there. And you click on there, there's the website. Now, why do we want you to go there first? Because that's all the medical proof. If you like what you see, you scroll down, you get a coach for free. They'll give you the grocery list for the grocery store free. And then they'll show you how to order those exotic foods directly from those researchers. And then they coach you. It says right here, you can see it right above her head in black, free coaching. We got coached, you're going to get coached because you've never done anything like this. So it's not just a matter of, oh, here are the foods and go for it on your own. Absolutely not. And by the way, they're live people. They're going to coach you by phone, by text, by email, whatever you want to do. Because their goal is to teach you how to get the weight off, which is a no-brainer for us, and then teach you how to keep it off for the rest of your life. Like I said, I lost 40 pounds 7 weeks ago. 23 years ago, I've kept it off for 23 years. I would think that would be of great interest to you, L. Brooks. I know it sounds good to be true, but the reason we give you the free website, I don't want you to believe me. It's not my research, but we're the researchers of the researchers, and we're bringing it to you. And I'm not just some guy, and I'm not telling you to try and impress you, L. Brooks, but I've written 4 best-selling books with some top medical doctors in the world. I did 20 shows on PBS. I've done over 1,500 live lectures around the world and worked with some of the top oncologists and geneticists and molecular biologists and nutraceutical chemists in the world. And everything I'm sharing with you comes from them. Who else on social media? And then, by the way, L. Brooks, this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. I mean, these are the biggest medical journals in the world. Peer-reviewed human trial studies. So you're not an experiment. Yeah, bloating, and I'm in menopause. Oh my gosh, L. Brooks, this has amazing things for that. So, Brooks, here's what's going to shock you. You'll probably lose 5 pounds in the first 4 days. 10 pounds easily in a couple of weeks. Easily. But you got to understand, this is a detox. Look at her stomach. Look at the bloating in her stomach. Can you see that, L. Brooks? Look at it 30 days later. That's because it's a detox. Your bloating is coming from what? You're storing your body to protect you and me. As we enter these chemicals, enter our body, the body's taking the chemical and stuff it in your fat cell. And that's why your fat cells are expanding. Look at that, unless you think we photoshopped it, L. Brooks. Is that impressive to you? In 30 days, yeah. 5 to 10 pounds. I mean, that's like, that's a rounding error for us. That's what I'm telling you. You probably lose 5 pounds in the first 4 days. 10 pounds, I'm being overly probably conservative. Probably no more than 2 weeks. And then you could go right on maintenance. But remember, this is a detox. It is not a diet. Don't get that in your mind that it's a diet. It doesn't work like that. And L. Brooks, you're going to get coached for free. And make sure you put in the thing that you're in menopause, and we'll make sure we get you a woman coach who's been through menopause and worked with menopausal people. And they're all volunteering their time. They've all done it, but they've had such amazing results. And then all of a sudden, maybe their sister, cousin, brother, someone they work with, went to church with, oh my God, what did you do? So one of our challenges is we only have so many coaches, but they know what they're doing. We've trained them. You don't just, oh, I want to be a coach. Really? Well, you're not doing this. Because the other thing that makes it easier for you, L. Brooks, the research, the chemists who put this together, this is what they gave their patients in the study. It's called the Blueprint for Success. And each one of those yellows you're looking at, those are daily videos from the researchers explaining to you it's safe. This is why you're doing this. This is why it's a detox. This is why it's in a diet. And they have no products to sell. They have no company. They're scientists. We don't sell you anything. L. Brooks, I want to be clear. 30% of what you would consume or buy, you're going to get your grocery store, you're going to get a grocery list from the coaches that you would see. And then the other 70%, the coaches will show you how to buy directly from them. Because you want to use only, obviously, what they used in the medical studies. You're mirroring exactly what they did in the medical studies. Why would you do anything different than that? Wouldn't make any sense, right? So does that make sense to you now, L. Brooks? Yes, I hope. And L. Brooks, you see the website right above her head. Sometimes people say they have trouble reading it. I don't know, because they're on their phone, whatever. But The New Health Conversation, you go to the website. We won't contact you. Look at the medical proof. If you like what you see, scroll down and get a free coach. I don't know how to make it any simpler than that. The coaching is free, 100% free. So you do see it, L. Brooks. Great. So I really encourage you to go there at your leisure, at your convenience, and see medical proof, and then get a coach if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, good luck losing the 5 or 10 pounds or getting rid of the bloating. No diet's going to get rid of the bloating. That's what you have to understand. No diet. Why do people have trouble with a calorie deficit? No need for a coach. Tony, it has nothing to do with counting calories. Have you not heard what I said? Why do you need a coach? You've never done anything like this before in your life. I mean, do you know how to detox? Do you? Do you know how to detox? I don't think so. Do you know when to eat, what the sequences are? No, this is all laid out. It's not a diet. Tony, it's not about calorie deficit. Get that out of your mind. The researchers don't even let you count calories. They give you serving sizes. Why do I need a coach? If you could go to the gym, Tony, and get a free personal trainer, would you turn it down? No, it doesn't make any sense. 50% of this is what you're going to consume. The other 50% is how you consume it. It's not a diet, Tony. Please get that out of your mind. It's like nothing you've ever done before. It's like nothing any of us did before. Does that make sense, Tony? Because again, calorie deficits don't work. Every study, I mean, my God, even Harvard Medical School. I have it here, Tony. You probably came on late. Let me find it for you here. I got the quote. I think oh, here it is. Sorry. Harvard Medical School, Tony. Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. Most of us have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500 and you lose a pound. But as it turned out, experts are learning this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. The idea that a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Now, these researchers have nothing to do with Harvard. Tony, I've got study after study after study saying calorie counting is dead. It's the dumbest thing that anybody came up with because the human body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. There's no such thing as a calorie deficit. That's complete hogwash. Whoever's telling you that, they're full of it. They're full of it. No such thing. And that's why people get coaches, because this is completely different than what anybody's ever done before. Tony, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. I had a coach. All the coaches have been coached. And the coaching's free, Tony, by the way, free. And you're not buying, there's no products to buy from us. You're buying food from the grocery store or these exotic foods around the world. They have nothing to do with calorie counting. Everything you've got is a serving size. Nothing to do with calorie counting. Does that make sense, Tony? So who else would like to make a comment or a statement or ask me a question or all of the above? And we got 30, come on, let's get some more likes. We're at 3,700. I'm sure we can get to 4,000. I'm counting on you. Let's shoot for 4,000 at a minimum. If you like what you hear, just tap on that screen, tap on the screen, tap on the screen. Tony, I mean, look, Tony, have you ever seen anything like this? My friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, arms, body. You can see no loose skin. And look at this one, everybody. I love this. She lost 200 pounds in a little over a year. She's kept it off, and look at no loose skin. Where's the loose skin, everybody? You think a calorie deficit would ever do that? This is just going to make every diet obsolete. If you're on a diet counting calories, stop immediately right now. It's ridiculous because all the studies say, where is it here? Okay, Tony, this is from Medicare, right? Title of the study, Medicare's Search for Effective Obesity Treatments. Diets are not the answer. The researchers from Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting by lowering calories is an effective treatment of obesity. The researchers found that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any calorie-in, calorie-out scheme. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. Drop the calories counting notion. It's complete hogwash. Nonsense. Just total nonsense. Not my opinion, based on, these are just some of the studies on stop counting calories. How's it working? We're going to have 86% of Americans overweight or obese in 4 years. How's that working for everybody? Obesity rates from 1995 to 2025, 30 years. They've doubled in the world. Doubled. And we have more diets than ever. And they're all based on what? Calorie deficit. It's just ridiculous. There's no medical basis behind that. The body doesn't know what a calorie is. Why in the hell have we been brainwashed into thinking somehow it has anything to do with calories? You're not alive because of calories. You're alive because of air, water, and nutrition. The only thing you need to concentrate on is nutrition, not calories. It's just silly. I'm not saying you're silly, Tony. I'm just making a point. So who else would like to ask me a question? We're stuck at 3,700 now. Come on, let's get some more taps on that screen. Who else would like to tap on that screen to give me some likes? If you do like it. If you don't like it, don't tap. I'm not looking for false, what do I want to say? False credibility. I feel like I've earned it. I'm not just some guy. I've done 23 years as a nutritional researcher, working with some of the top medical doctors, oncologists, molecular biologists, geneticists. One of my colleagues is the geneticist who's covered the gene that causes aging. One of my other colleagues, who's a top oncologist in the world, has worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. That's the level of people that I've been able to work with. I'm not trying to impress you, but don't think I'm just some guy, a health coach or what. No, it's way beyond that. I wrote 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I did 20 shows on public broadcasting, over 1,500 live lectures in universities and hospitals and around the world, even in towns. Well, they even flew me to China. So I kind of know my way around this just a little bit. But I'll be honest with you, for 22 of my 23 years in the medical world with all that academia behind me, as far as medical doctors are concerned, all of this stuff meant zero. Why? Because there were no published peer-reviewed human trial studies, none. Now this protocol you're looking at, what she did there, is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. It's what's called irrefutable medical proof. I mean, people want to argue with me, but you're arguing with, when you have peer-reviewed, when you're published in these big medical journals, it's what's called irrefutable medical proof. It's not up for discussion. It's not up for, hey, let's discuss it. There's nothing to discuss. It's already been scrutinized by the top medical and, in this case, nutritional researchers in the world. That's why it's so important to have a peer-reviewed human trial study. Maria Taylor. I'm new here, Maria. Okay, wonderful. So Maria, are you looking to lose weight? Because I'm happy to explain to you how she did it. Let me ask you a question, Maria. If you were going to lose 20 pounds, forget you're on this podcast. How long would you give yourself? Please put that in the chat. I'm just really curious. I don't know, maybe you want to gain weight. Because Maria, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. No thyroids, hyperthyroidism. I mean, you name it. People with no gallbladders. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases. We're just stating the obvious. 1 month. That's exactly what she did. 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches. But it gets way better than that. Look at this one. Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. And then my friend's daughter, to show it's consistent. 60 pounds in 3 months, 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. What do you think about that? And do you need to lose weight? Because believe it or not, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight, it's to detoxify your body. And the researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this is a detox more than anything else. The weight loss is like a throw-in. That's like a bonus round. And she was not allowed to exercise, and yet she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and lost no water weight. How cool is that, Maria? Pretty cool? No counting. Absolutely no, no, no. No counting calories. Taboo. Finish. Listen, you missed. You came on late. Let me read to you from, I'm sure you've heard of Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. Here's what they said. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in their food, not how much food they're consuming. The researchers who created this, Maria, are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They've done 100 studies, Maria, on every diet out there. Over 40 years of studies, thousands of people. They never found a diet where people lost weight and kept it off, ever. And they invented a new process here. No calorie counting. No, 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 no. They created a food list that you would take to your grocery store, but only 30% of the food you're used to buying, you would buy on this protocol: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. The other 70%, now here's what separates us from everything. The other 70% doesn't come from foods in North America. It comes from these exotic locations around the world, like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, and New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food per se. Does that make sense, Maria? Then what they did, they invented 2 new ways of eating as she was losing the weight. 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast, lunch from a grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. And she was doing something they called intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, she only had those nutrients from around the world, but she ate 8 times a day. She was having something every hour and a half to 2 hours. And what happened? First of all, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved that this was a detox. They measured the herbicides and the pesticides and the chemicals coming out of her body. If you look at her stomach on day 1 and you look at her stomach on day 30, that's with no exercise. They weren't even allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. No calorie counting, okay, got it? The second thing that they found was that inflammation, which no diet has ever measured, it went down 25% in a month. Diabetics on this, their need for insulin came down 41% in a month. And the diabetics monitored by the doctors had to cut their meds by 50% in 30 days. The key to this is maintenance. She lost that weight 8 or 9 years ago. She kept it up for 8 or 9 years. And in my case, Maria, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. No calorie counting. It's not a diet. It's revolutionary. And by the way, it's the only, no other diet. This is published in 10 of the biggest medical studies in the world. And to facilitate this, you see right above her head in blue, Maria, the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. We will not contact you if you go to that website. Only thing on that website is medical proof. But if you like what you see, notice it says free coaching. The coaching is free. The consultation's free. The whole time, we all got coached. We're going to coach you if you decide to do it. But you have to understand, you don't need a coach to see all the medical proof. We don't work that way. We give you all the medical proof up front. And then you decide what you want to do. How much fairer could we be than that, Maria? Does that sound fair to you? Oh my God, I'm from Maine. I'm from, do you know Old Orchard Beach? Or you probably know Kennebunk maybe, or Portland. Well, I'm sure you heard of Portland. Are you from Massachusetts originally? Maria. I was just in Maine. That's why I said I was up there. And by the way, I had lobster and pizza and all kinds of stuff. I didn't gain an ounce. The key to this is living your life. Once you lose the weight, then we teach you how to keep it off for the rest of your life. How exciting does that sound? Oh, so do you know Old Orchard Beach, Maria? And are you in the you're in the Boston area, right? My grandfather lived in Marblehead. I'm sure you know where that is, in Salem and all that. I love that area, right? Lobster. You pronounced it correctly. I used to have an accent. I did. Yeah, America, Cuba, lobster. That's so funny. Oh, you're from Dorchester. Okay, great, great. Well, you're only about 2 hours away from Old Orchard Beach. But have you ever heard of Old Orchard Beach? I'm just curious. They have the famous pier and they have this wonderful beach. And oh, I'm in Georgia now. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Where? Because my brother used to live in Marietta, outside of Atlanta. Ah, yeah, yeah. I know Georgia's a great, great place. I loved visiting him there. It was wonderful. And we went down to, what was it called? Peachtree? I think there was a place called the Peachtree Cafe. I don't even know if it's there anymore, but I know it's a really great night spot. Ah, you're near Marietta. Okay, well, what a small world. What's the method, Bertie and Bear? I'm going to explain that to you. So, Maria, are you clear? You can go to the website if you want to and see the medical proof and then get a free coach. Is that all cool with you? Good. Okay, so Bert and Bear, let me explain to you. Number one, it's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. As a matter of fact, she wasn't allowed to exercise. They all wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. And not that the research is against exercise, but they eliminated exercise. Otherwise, you say they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. Okay? So what did they do? First of all, who developed it? Maria? Not Maria. Who's asked? Oh, Bertie and Bear. Sorry, Bertie and Bear. Who developed it are rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They had done 40 years of research, 100 studies on every diet out there, and concluded they never found a diet in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off. And the main reason was all the diets, Bertie, hope you'll agree with this, is some form, oh good, Maria, is some form of counting calories. But the problem with that, your body has no idea what a calorie is. It's the dumbest thing we ever came up with. So the researchers said we're alive because of three things: air, water, not calories, but nutrition. So the main focus was they put a food list together that you would literally you'd take to the grocery store. You buy 30% of what you bought last month, but only that much from your grocery store because you're going to get serving sizes. No calorie counting, none, zero, no calorie counting. Got it? So 30% of what you would consume, you buy from your grocery store and you get a grocery list. The other 70%, and here's what makes it unique and work, didn't come from North America. It came from exotic locations that had huge amounts of nutrition and small amounts of food in places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. So those were the foods she was going to consume. 30% from your grocery store, you have a list. 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Then they invented a new way of eating based strictly, not on calorie counting, on nutrition. So 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic nutrients from around the world. That was breakfast, nothing from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a fourth meal after dinner from these exotic foods from around the world. So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, until she lost all her weight. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. This time, she did something they call intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery, only these exotic foods. But this time, she was having them 8 times a day. She was having really small amounts of food with huge amounts of, so she was fasting with nutrition. That's basically what happened. Okay, so first, the diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. Number two, in a month's time, hunger for all these people, including her, had gone down by 41%. But the biggest deal with this and what makes it different and why it's not a diet and why calorie counting has nothing to do with this, it's a detox. So they measured blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved that this was removing chemicals from her body. If you look at her stomach on day 1 and you look at her stomach on day 30, that's with no exercise. The bloating that we have in our body is because to protect us, our body doesn't know what to do with these chemicals, so it takes them and stuffs them in what's called our visceral fat. Our visceral fat is the fat around the organs, and obviously in the abdomen, the stomach, the diaphragm area, that's even more prominent. They have the medical proof that this is removing chemicals from the body. The next thing it did, they measured inflammation for the first time ever. You suffer from it, I suffer from it, everybody does. It went down 25% in a month. The next thing that was so unique about this, the picture you're looking at there is 8 or 9 years old, and it's been, she's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. The key to this is getting you to, it's called R2M, race to maintenance. It's not a question, can we get the weight off you? Obviously, we're going to get the weight. I mean, the least you're going to lose is about 5 pounds a week. That's the least. Okay? And then you got people like This is crazy. This guy's 65 years old, 40 pounds, 52 inches in a month. But the best part, look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4 triglycerides, 242 to 124. That's in a month. This is not a diet, it's a detox. It's going to change everything. And the other thing that you need to know, the results, it's published and validated and scrutinized. It's published in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world. One of them, to tell you how incredible this was, it came out about a little over a year ago in the obesity journal, the #1 obesity journal in the world. It was the #1 downloaded medical study on weight loss in the whole world, in the entire world. That's not keto or paleo or Mediterranean or time restricted eating or carnivore or Cornish. No. This one. This is going to change the world. So did that make sense to you, Santa Wu? So how? Did you get to hear that whole thing? Birdie and Bear, does that make sense to you? And Santa Wu, did you get to hear that? No other lifestyle changes. No. The main thing, well, one of the things, with them, they weren't allowed to exercise, Santa Wu 80. Now, the research is on against exercise, but they made them wear Fitbits. Now, why didn't they want her to exercise? Otherwise, you'd say, well, of course they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. And it's not a diet. It's a detox. The main reason to do this is the weight loss for us is a joke. I mean, I'm going to show you. Wait till you see this. My friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. Sandwell, look at her. Look at her face, arms. That's the shrinkage from the, and then Julie, my God, look at this, everyone. 35 pounds in 37 days. That's 7 pounds a week. Look at their body. Look at the shrinkage. You can think it's photoshopped. If you do, then you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. If you don't think we're telling the truth, then you don't waste your time. But we give you a free, see right above our head in blue, everybody? Do you see that, Sandwell? It's the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website where you can go. Free. No, it's not whole food. Only 30% of the food you would get, which would be what you consider whole food, from your grocery store. The other 70% you can't buy in your grocery store. It literally came from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, where it had huge amounts of nutrition but small amounts of food. You can't buy it at your grocery store. You can't. The researchers tried to do this with organic food. It didn't work because, in case you didn't know it, our food in North America and around the world is becoming nutritionally insufficient. You'd have to eat more food than you could do, and then you wouldn't lose the weight, and you'd never detox. This is first and foremost a detox. Santa Wu, does that make sense? But can you tell us what it is? Didn't I just explain it to you? So the researchers who invented it are the top weight loss researchers in the world. First of all, Santa Wu, no calorie counting. Got that? All you're going to do is you're going to 5 days a week, you're going to have 4 meals a day, and those meals are going to consist of these exotic foods around the world at breakfast, lunch from your grocery store list that you would get, dinner, whole foods from your grocery store for lunch and dinner, and then these exotic foods around the world. That's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, you're going to do intermittent nutritional fasting. On those days, no whole foods from your grocery store, no food. Only these exotic foods, but this time you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to be having these nutrients about every hour and a half to 2 hours. And the proof is they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving this is detoxing. That's why she shrank. That's why you have the bloating on these diets. That's why most of you complain, not just about how much weight you've gained, but how much fat you have on your body. Does that make sense to everybody? So Santa Wu, does that make sense? So did that make sense? No, fruit, no, you're buying your fruit from the, see, that's where you're wrong. These are nutrients. Let me give you an example. Some of the nutrients come from Mongolia. They're called adaptogens. They massively lower stress in your body. It's not available any place in the world except in Mongolia. From Tibet, there are ingredients that come from there that massively lower inflammation in your body. We have the medical proof to back it up. They're nutrients. They're not fruits. They're not vegetables. You make them either as a tea or as a soup, or you maybe just take the nutrient independent of itself. The foods you're used to eating, the proteins, the fats, the carbs, vegetables, and fruits, that's what you get from your grocery store. This is primarily liquid nutrition. As you know, the world's most perfect food is mother's breast milk. And these natives in some of these areas that are living to be 100 years old, called these blue zones, that's how they consume food. Small amounts of chewable, but mostly they drink it as tea or as a soup, or maybe just mixed with water, etc. That's what I'm saying. It's totally different than anything you've ever done before. But it represents huge amounts of nutrition. So hunger went down 41% in a month. Hunger, 41%. And some of the people in this weighed 400 pounds. Like this lady here, look at this. Look at her, 200 pounds in about a year. She's kept it off. Look at, where's the loose skin? Santua, 80, look at that. That's not photoshopped. Look at her. You trying to tell me any diet's ever done that? No. It's not a diet. It's a So her swelling is her body storing chemicals. And she was overweight as well. The reason we have all the bloating in our body is because we're storing chemicals, all of us, in our fat cells. Listen, Santua, to prove it to you, there's a new medical syndrome, U.S. Patent Office. This is a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. TDOS. T for the toxins stored in our fat cells caused by the deficiency of our food, overweight, and stress. It's a registered trademark. Who discovered it? Oh, Peter Greenlaw. Oh, that happens to be me. But that's not what's important. I proved that we're storing these chemicals in our fat cells. You and me, it doesn't matter, whatever you think. If you're breathing, drinking, eating, you're storing chemicals in your fat cells. And there's a new thing now called normal weight obesity. What? Yeah, because some of you think, oh, I'm thin. Great, but you're still toxic. All of us are. Listen, and we don't believe me, okay? Google microplastics in your brain. 8 weeks ago, they came out and they said they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries, Santua 80. What the hell is going on here? Did you know? Now, let me give you more medical proof. I want to make sure you all understand. I never give you. You know that we didn't even know we were storing chemicals in our bodies till 2005, Mount Sinai Medical School. Please pay attention for the next minute or two. It could change the rest of your life. Yes, I know, it's insane. But let me read to you, Santua. It sounds like you're very interested in this and the rest of you as well. Let me read to you from the latest medical studies after 20 years. Listen to this. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports that the rise in the incidence of obesity matches the rise in the use and distribution of industrialized chemicals. These chemicals have a name. They're called obesogens. They went on to say, simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal system, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from a variety of sources, from natural compounds in soy, artificial hormones fed to animals, plastic pollutants in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides sprayed into produce. They act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones such as estrogen. Are you listening, ladies? Blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone. Are you listening, men? And essentially reprogram us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? Any of you? Santua, what are you doing about obesogens? Did you even know about obesogens before today? I mean, I've been doing this research for 23 years, and that's why they granted me a registered trademark of this discovery. I'm very honored about that. I'm not trying to impress you, but I'm not just some guy. I'm not just somebody, I'm a health coach or a whatever, weight loss coach. It goes way beyond. I read 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. They had me on PBS 20 times on PBS. You don't get on PBS if you're a huckster or faking stuff out. But what was so frustrating about it, to be quite honest with you, well, good, but there's no proof that removes there's no medical study that would back up that you're removing chemicals from your body. I'm sorry to tell you that. I can tell you, because for 22 years, without these peer-reviewed studies, it didn't mean anything in the world. I could talk about it all day long. I discovered the syndrome. And we saw people, but we didn't have the medical proof until now. I'm not saying what you're doing. What about insulin resistance? Look at the insulin resistance. Look at his A1C. Went from 8.4 to 6.4 in 30 days. Triglycerides, 242 to 124. The need for insulin with the diabetics, including him, it came down 41% in a month. Talk about insulin resistance. Did you hear what I just said? The need for insulin came down 41% in a month. The medical doctors that had their patients on glucophage, metformin, insulin had to cut their meds by 50% in 30 days. No doctor had ever seen anything like this. Talk about insulin resistance. Whoa. By the way, this was invented by a diabetic chemist 25 years ago. A diabetic. I'd say they know a little bit about insulin resistance. Can you show cover? Cover, which cover? Oh, you mean this cover? Is that the one you wanted to see? Santoui, is that it? TDOS? Native people? Yeah, I bet you do know all along. I'm not saying it's bad what you're doing, but it's not this. And even if it worked, unless it's I'm going to tell you, because I went through it. Even though we had tens of thousands of people doing this, having these amazing results in the medical world, it meant zero. It wasn't until these results, which get scrutinized at the highest levels in the world, get published in these huge medical journals. I don't know if you remember when I talked about the study in 2024 was published in the obesity journal, the #1 obesity journal in the world. It was the most downloaded study in the world that year, the most. Hello? And if you are Native American, you know, I know that obviously obesity and diabetes running rampant, just like it is in the Black community. Insulin resistance, diabetes, hypertension, all these things. And we're not curing, treating, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases, except that all those things came down dramatically. I mean, blood sugar came down almost 7%. I told you insulin, cholesterol came down 15%, LDL down 13%, triglycerides 24% down. No diet's ever produced. This is in 30 days, not 30 weeks. So it brings real hope in a really short period of time. So who else would like to ask me a question? We got 5,200 likes, I'm saying. Earthling, thanks for informing us. Okay, great. So Joe Pups, did that make sense to you? Now, but I want you all to understand, okay? First, let's take a look up here. You see, where is it? Hold on just a second. Kristen, do you all see above her head there in blue the new health conversation? I want you all to understand. It's a free medical website for you to go. We will not contact you to go there. Now, all you have to do, go to Google or whatever search engine. Google's the big one, right? The new health conversation. Type it in. You'll see it there. It'll go to the link in Google. There it is. Click on the link. And there's the free medical website. The only thing there is the medical proof, including, and Santoui, you'd want to see this, #1. It's an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world who invented this. He says in the interview, they will never recommend to any patient ever again a traditional diet. And they're the top people in the world. Now, they invented this, but they said it's strictly because they don't sell anything. They don't have any products. It's not like you're buying something from them and he's doing an infomercial. No, they have no products. This is food and a new way of eating that they developed. And so their whole thing is they got credit now for cracking the code on obesity in the world, in the whole world. Isn't that a cool thing? Everybody, isn't that wonderful that they did it? With Wintana Texter. Yeah, I'm going to explain it to you right now. So Wintana, if you don't mind, since you just came on late and I want to be efficient for you, what I was going to say is, are you looking to lose weight? Just tell me that first. And if you don't mind, if you can tell me how tall you are and how much you weigh. And by the way, I'll just give you some quick 50,000 foot view. This is not a diet. It's not about counting calories. No one was allowed to exercise. And this is the average weight loss on this, believe it or not, is Wintana. It's 5 pounds a week, average with no exercise. But again, and you don't have to if you don't want to tell me, but if you do, I'll give you a realistic estimate. How long will it take you? And the key to this is keeping it off. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. But I need to know, for example, if you want to and need to lose weight, then, but this is not a diet, it's a detox. But you can see the weight loss is pretty darn dramatic. And again, look at this right here. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. And then my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. So we've got a whole cross-section of people that, want to do this, all right? So, okay, if you don't want to tell me, it's fine. Sorry, I just joined. How'd they lose? Okay, I'm going to explain it to you. So let's come back over here. So would you be excited about the fact, Wintana losing 5 pounds a week on average, okay? The researchers that did this are rated the #1, the top researchers in weight loss, nutrition, physiologists in the world. For 40 years, they did 100 studies, thousands of people, and determined no diet ever worked counting calories. So on this, there's no calorie counting. Let's start with that. They invented it, not me. I have nothing to do with inventing it. It was based on one of those 40. Okay. So I know we should be able to assess the nutrition anywhere in the world. Big corporations evil. Well, I mean, you can. If do you want to go to Russia? Do you need to go to I mean, it'd be impractical these researchers found it. They brought these back. They went to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. It's not that you couldn't go there and get this. You could. But you know how expensive that would be? This is affordable. This is about the same. You're not going to spend that much more than you spent last month on your total food bill. So anyway, Montana, let me finish with you. I need to lose 20 pounds, KK. I'm 58. All right. KK, did you just join also? So I'm going to explain it to Wintana. Joe Pups, I think I explained it to you earlier, didn't I? But anyway, Wintana, 180 pounds. Okay. I want to lose 40. Yeah, that would be perfect for you. All right, so let's slow it down now. Let me explain to you what they did. First, this was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They did 100 studies over 40 years and never found a diet that worked long term. I'm sure that's the frustration for most of you. What they said was this: we're going to abandon anything to do with calorie counting because the human body cannot count a calorie, doesn't give a damn about a calorie, has no idea what a calorie is. So all this nonsense that we've been fed about calories in, calories out is total hogwash. You got that, everybody? So they said, we're going to concentrate. There are 3 things that keep you alive: air, water, and nutrition. The most important one is nutrition. The nutrition is what runs your brain, your heart, your kidney, not calories. Okay, you need air and you need water, but what runs the body is nutrition. So they said, we're going to pick foods for you, for the people in the study, and now ultimately for all of us. And those foods, 30% of what you spent last month at your grocery store, you'd get a grocery list that the researchers developed for proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, KK, or Wintana, you're going to get serving sizes. So for example, if it's a protein, it's going to be ounces. If it's vegetable, 1/3 or 1/2 a cup. Be clear. That's all laid out. You don't have to figure it out. The coaches, our coaches, notice free coaching. You're going to get coached for free if you do this. They'll give you the grocery list. Okay? There's no charge for coaching, no charge for the list, obviously. Now, here was what made it work. The other 70%, as Joe Pups was pointing out, didn't come from whatever area of the world you live. Maybe you live in one of these areas. These other researchers have spent 20 years and physically had gone to areas like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find these massive amounts of nutrition in very small amounts of food, in some cases from blue zones where people are living to be 100 years old, was kind of a normal thing. Well, I want to put that in my body. I don't know what about you. So 30% of the food you'd buy from the grocery store, the 70% you had left over, or maybe a little bit more, would go to buy these foods directly. But here's the cool thing, like Pups, you're not buying from us. You're not buying from the researchers. You're buying directly from those researchers. There's no middleman. So that's what makes it so affordable. And then you don't have to fly to Russia or Mongolia. It has nothing to do with our government, nothing to do with any of that stuff. Okay? Now they assembled the foods. Then they created a new way of eating, Wintana and also KK. What they did, they developed based on nutrition. She could have 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. She started with these, by the way, they call these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Very important to point out to you, unless you're on a prescription for calcium or iron deficiency, you'll need no more supplements once you start on this. No, that's how much nutrition is in it. So that's breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. Now don't tell me, oh, I can't. No, you're going to have 4 meals, or don't do it. They proved it. They have the medical proof behind. They tried 2 meals a day. They tried 3 meals a day. They tried skipping breakfast. It never worked. It was the 4 meals spread out was really critical. Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store at all. None. Only these exotic foods around the world. But this time she ate them 8 times a day. She was having something about every hour and a half. Now don't envision like this big cooking thing. No. It doesn't work like that. Most of these are made either in a tea or in a soup, or you just take the nutrients themselves. There's no capsules. It's not lotions, potions, none of that crap. Okay, so now what were the results? First of all, diabetics on this. No insulin spikes from anybody. In a month, well, first here was the biggest reason to do this. The biggest reason is not to lose weight. That's a throw-in for us. But they did blood, stool, the research. Now, blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis improved. This was removing chemicals from the body. In case you all didn't know, you're breathing, you're drinking, you're eating chemicals on a daily basis. If you don't believe me, go look it up. microplastics in your brain. You'll see about 2 months ago, they came out and said they're finding microplastic in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Well, we've known for about 20 years now, we're storing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon in our fat cells. Well, they proved through the blood, urine, stool, fat analysis, this is removing chemicals. Look at her waist on day 1 and then look at her on day 30. That's with no exercise. That's the detox. That is the detox. Or if you look at my friend's daughter, April, 60 pounds. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her body. That's the detox. Now, the other things that happen, inflammation, which no diet has ever produces, came down 25% in a month. I said already, the need for insulin came down 41% in a month. So diabetics, those type 2, pre-diabetics, they were blown away by the results. As a matter of fact, those diabetics on meds, their doctors had to cut their meds by 50% in a month. There's nothing like this on the planet. And like I was saying before, everyone, hopefully you get published in these huge medical journals. Well, the Obesity Journal, which is the #1 obesity journal in the world, the first time this study got published in their journal in 2024, it was the number one weight loss downloaded study in the whole world. That's pretty good, isn't it? This is not some kind of a joke. This is going to change the world for the people that are lucky enough to find out about it. That's what our podcast is all about. That's why it's called The New Health Conversation. Do all of you think we need one, KK or Wintana? Does this make sense now, Wintana? Yeah, Joe Pups, you're 100% right. We used to have nutrition on food about 100 years ago. We've ruined it with over-farming, not rotating the crops, herbicides, pesticides. I don't blame the farmers. They're increasing their yields. But as we've increased the amount of food we're consuming, we get less and less nutrition. We're ranked the most overfed and undernourished society in the world. We now have a 10-year shorter life experience than the Japanese. What are we doing? Counting calories. Why? Why are you counting calories? I don't get it. 110. Is it safe? That's where it is so important. That's why the peer-reviewed human trial studies come in. They proved it's safe. That's what's so great about this. I know you'd think, oh my God, it's unsafe to lose that much weight fast on a diet. No diet would ever, and yes, on a diet it would be, because we know that, listen, Wintana, 25 to 40% of what you lose on any diet is your lean muscle mass, which slows your metabolism down and slows down your immune system. So any of these diets, by counting calories, the weight people are losing, they're making themselves unhealthy. This is why this is going to change the world. Okay, 20 pounds easily in a month or less. Easily. Well, that's what she did. Look, Kristen, she had 30 pounds to lose. She lost 20 in a month. How much would that excite you? Well, I'm telling you right now, Kay, you're going to lose, probably the first 4 days, you'll lose like 5 pounds, 4 to 5 pounds. In the first, how much would that motivate you to continue? And it's completely safe, and you're losing no water weight, and you're building lean muscle mass with no exercise. Now, if you want to exercise, even better. The researchers weren't against exercise, but they had to eliminate it. Otherwise, you said, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. And you all, listen, here's the free website. Go to Google. Here, everybody. Whoops. Google right there, The New Health Conversation. And you'll see it'll go in Google for you. Come on, print. Oh, there we go. Click on The New Health Conversation. There's the medical website. Nothing. Only thing there is the medical proof, including #1, is the exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world who invented this. They have no products. There's no products to buy. You're buying food. All of you can go to that website. We're not going to call you. The only way we'll contact you is if you contact us, because we do offer, it's mandatory, free coaching. And there's no charge for the coach. There's no gimmicks. It's not like, hey, buy this. No. There's nothing to buy. We don't have anything to sell you. We got coached ourselves. Does that seem pretty fair to everybody? Well, how do you add muscle without exercising? Because do you know how Wintana, do you know how you build muscle in your body? It's not through lifting weights from resistance training. You build muscle from one of the 9 essential amino acids. Just tell me if you... Yes, protein pacing is part of it, Joe Pups. And the other part is intermittent nutritional fasting. So it's a combination of protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. But let me answer Wintana's question. So the way that you make lean muscle in the body is you ingest protein, which contains the 9 essential amino acids and the 11 non-essential, but there's one amino acid that's responsible, what's called body protein synthesis. I don't want to get too technical on you, but maybe you know this, and maybe you don't know it. But that particular amino acid is responsible for making the development of muscles, okay? So here's how they did it. Typically, well, not typically, in Europe, now there's two things that are misstatements, Wintana. Number one, you hear, well, it's 95 or 96% absorption of protein. Well, that doesn't mean anything to your body, because the body then has to break the protein down, that's called body protein synthesis, into the amino acids. So what matters to your body is what's called the utilization of the amino acids. In Europe, through blood, stool, urine, and fat, not these researchers, other researchers, analyzed when we ingest protein from plants or animals, what percentage of the amino acids are being utilized in the body. Now, why is it so important you understand that? Because the one amino acid called leucine responsible for making lean muscle in the body, okay? So, plant-based proteins, and this will make the vegans crazy, the utilization of amino acids is only 15%. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish, etc., Wintana, are 30%. The researchers found a source where the utilization of the amino acids, you ready for this, was 91%. That's why they built lean muscle with no exercise. That's why they didn't want them to exercise, because they wanted to prove and see if we gave people a 91% utilization of amino acids, what would happen. You should see what, I'm going to show you, Wintana, what happens to athletes. Now, all of you, I want you to understand, everybody I've showed you so far was not allowed to exercise. This is what happens when you exercise. This is a surfer, a 43-year-old young man who works out 7 days a week and went on this protocol, and wait till you see what happened to him in 11 days. You talk about building lean muscle, wait till you see this. So first, you can see day one in pretty darn good shape. So when it says day 5, that's 4 days in. Look at his stomach. And then look at day 12, 11 days in, everybody. Look at that, Wintana. Look at that transformation. Now, he was working out every day. The only thing he changed was going on this protocol. He didn't do it to lose weight. He did it for that transformation. I mean, look at that. Are you kidding me? In 10 days, 11 days? There's no equivalent to this, Wintana, on the planet, or Joe Pups. No equivalent to this. None. And this guy over here, now he lost a lot of weight, but look at his muscle development. 50 pounds in 4 months. Look at that. It's the same man. 50, but you understand it was really more than 50 pounds because he was putting on 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, or more than that because he was working out. See, that's the thing, Wintana. If you work, they gained 6 to 9% with no exercise allowed. So obviously, if exercise it goes off the charts, what can happen? Look at that. What do you all think about that? Wintana, does that make sense? Do you understand now medically why that happened? Why she's able to gain 6? You can look at her stomach. Look at how much her stomach shrank. That's the detox. She lost no water weight. They measured it and gained 6 to 9% lean. All these people that I've showed you so far, like her and like Julie and like Curtis, 40 pounds. Look at his stomach, how much it went down in a month. And then you have people like look at the transformation in this guy. Look at that. 34 pounds, 26 inches in 29 days. Look at that, everybody. What do you think? You think a diet would ever do that? Go Joe Pups, wonderful. And you see Joe Pups, you see it right there, the new health conversation, right? And Joe Pups, understand, if you go there, we will not contact you. Everybody understand, if you go to that website, we're not contacting you. So don't get disappointed if you don't get a phone call. The only way we'll contact you is if you contact us, scroll down, you get a free coach. The other thing I should also tell you, all of you, including Wintana, so take your grocery, whatever you spent last month, 30% you're going to spend at your grocery store for the proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. The other 70% of the money you have left will pretty much pay for these exotic foods around the world. But here's the better part. That 70% of what you're going to spend, 100% money back guarantee from those researchers, 100%. Because if you go and you see it'll say 100% free guarantee, I want to be clear, not from the 30% of the food from the grocery store, only from these exotic foods from around the world. No questions asked, they'll give you all your money back. Which diet are you on that gives you 100% money back guarantee? Like even when you go on the shots, you still have to buy food on top of what the cost of the shot is. There's no shots here. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, okay, as long as we're talking about it, let's talk about the shots. We're not against the shots. They're helping diabetics, they're helping people morbidly obese. But we're researchers. So what we want to show you, how effective are the shots really This is a big study. You all can see it. It's in the public domain, the New England Journal of Medicine, okay? This study was on once weekly semaglutide in adults with overweight or obesity. That's the title. You can all go look it up. This was a 68-week study, a year and 4 months. Got it? The weight loss, I'm reading right from the study, the weight loss after 68 weeks was 32 pounds, and of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. 32 pounds in 68 weeks, she lost 21 pounds in a month, and Curtis didn't get the 40 pounds in a month. All we're saying is you now have an alternative. We're not here to convince you. But if you look at the medical science, and this has no side effects, you tell me what you want to do. Because according to this, like someone like Curtis, if he wanted to lose 40 pounds, it would take him a couple of years based on the numbers there. Because 32 pounds in 68 weeks, which, what would that work out to? It was 30, they lost what, about a half a pound a week. Okay, so it would take him about 80 weeks. That's not quite 2 years, right? But think about that. Joe Pups, thank you. Wintana, does this make sense to you? And Wintana, are you a little bit curious? And Wintana, again, and all of you, please go to the website and see for yourself. I'm not here to convince you. If you think I'm here to convince you, you're on the wrong podcast. I don't do that. I don't need to do that. So Maria, I don't know if you're still on or not. Thanks for being here. Oh, you sent me a heart. That was so nice of you. Wow, we got 7,300 likes. Listen, everybody, we want to change the world. The New Health Conversation is a free website, and it's a podcast, and it's my publishing, etc. But the main thing is we want to educate you. You can change your lives, and you could change the lives of somebody else by you going on this and having this amazing result, and then they probably will ask you about it. One of the things we need more of is coaches, to be quite honest with you. We need more coaches. So who else would like to? I can't take any more questions. I'm sorry. I'll be looking at the website shortly. Thank you. Good, Maria. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, you can all keep tapping. Let's see if we can get me to 8,000. So let's see. It's 4:51. Yeah, I've got to leave in about 4 or 5 minutes. So if anybody else, Wintana, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your sticking with me, okay? Oh, Maria, you are still here. Okay. So Maria, or Wintana, any of you, I'd love, this helps me. Do you feel like the New Health Conversation has real value for humanity, for people to learn about this? I hope you don't feel, any of you, that I've tried to convince you or sell you anything, because I have nothing to sell, number one. Did you get educated? Is it of value to you? Would you recommend this to your friend? Okay, look, for sure. How about you, Wintana? Would you feel that this has really been valuable and you've learned some things that there's no way you know of knowing it, right? Joe Pups, thank you for saying that you enjoyed and this helped you as well. Wow, we're at 7,900. We're almost at 8,000. I know we can get there, everybody. I know we can get to 8,000. Just keep tapping, tap on the screen. Tap. And again, is everyone clear? If you go to the website, we're not going to contact you. The only way we'll contact you is if you scroll down and you get a free coach. Everyone, the coaching is free the whole time. I get people putting in the chat, not today, how much is the coaching? 0. Do you really think those suppliers would offer you 100% money back guarantee? Nothing to do with us if it didn't work. Now, nothing's 100%, and yes, occasionally people, it doesn't work. Okay, well, you get all your money back. But what program are you on where they give you 100% money back guarantee on what you're doing? What program would that be on? Does anyone know? I don't. I've never heard of it. And we have nothing to do with it. So it's not us, because we're not selling you anything. So we can't give you your money back because you didn't buy anything from us. And you're not paying for coaching. All I'm asking all of you to do is you owe it to yourselves, I think, to go and investigate. See what you think. If you like it, get a coach. And the coach will answer all your questions. They're not there to convince you. They're not there to sell you. We don't have time to do that. We're so busy coaching. Wow, 8,500. Okay, let's go for 9,000 now as I'm buttoning up what I'm doing here. So would anybody else like to ask me a question about this? Thank you for this info. I'm going to the website to check it out. KK, wonderful, wonderful. KK, please don't go quite yet. Do you feel this was valuable? Do you feel like you learned something? Do you feel like this website is unique to anything you've seen on social media? If you don't mind sharing that with me, I would really appreciate it. We work very hard to bring you the latest and greatest information free, the medical proof that you can rely on, because again, it's from peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Does that make sense? Oh, come on. Oh my gosh, we're at 8,700. Come on, let's get a few more taps. I know we can get wow. Good, KK. I'm happy. I get really excited for people. And all of you, let me share something at the very end here. Why am I so motivated? Why am I so crazy? You see, my own mother, KK, and Win Tana and Joe Pups and Maria, my own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I loved her. She was awesome. I never knew her thin, and I never knew her healthy in my whole lifetime. And 24 years ago, almost 25 years now, she called me up one day and said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. And I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's really cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom was 62 years old when she died. I miss her still today. And I believe she dieted herself to death. That's why I'm so motivated to help all of you. I couldn't help my mom. I didn't even know about any of this back. Well, it hadn't even been invented. It was only invented like 24 years ago, 23 years ago. So thank you, Maria. That's very kind of you. Yeah. But keep in mind, my motivation for all of you stems from what I couldn't do for my mom. And I know she'd be proud of me. I know she would. To sort of, in a way, use her as my motivation. I mean, I'm doing, and I'm not bragging, I'm doing 4 or 5 of these podcasts a day. Like this one is now 1 hour and 36 minutes. That's probably an average one. So I'm anywhere from, let's say, 8 to 10 hours a day doing this. The main thing that I always worry about is my voice. And I know that we're helping so many people. I'd love for all of you to join us. The New Health Conversation is a movement. It's not a product. We don't have anything to sell except education, and we're not selling it. We're giving it to you for free. My mom would have been so happy if she could have gone on this and lost, like in a week, what would have taken her 2 or 3 months on the crazy diet she was. I'd see her lose 25, gain 30 back, lose 30, gain 35 back. And at the end, she was on so many different pills, she had to have a chart. Blood pressure pills and water pills and cholesterol and blood sugar and tranquil. I mean, it was just crazy. But I really believe my mom dieted herself to death. And so if I can, wow, we got to 11,000. That's crazy. Thank you all. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, Santoui, I appreciate that very much. Very, very much. So all I would say is this. We'd love for you to join us to help us. See, we consider the people that are suffering, with obesity and the side effects of that as the legions of the sick, not their fault. The New Health Conversation, our mission is to create legions of the well to help. Like, for example, let's say you went on this and maybe you have a sister or a cousin or somebody you go to church with. You realize what you could do for them just by you becoming an example? Because if you go on it and have the kind of results we're seeing, people are going to ask you. So you could help us help as many people as possible. That's the whole goal here. Does that make sense to everybody? I mean, I think it's the greatest cause on the planet. I don't know what would be bigger than this. Because we've got 2.5 billion people overweight, 1 billion of those obese. And in this country, we're going to, in 4 years, have 86% of Americans overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does that sound to any of you like that's going to work? I don't know. But anyway, I can't thank you enough. We're 12,000 likes. You're wonderful. Just to let you know, during the week, like tomorrow, I'll do my first one probably at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. And then I'll probably do another one. I've got a really busy morning tomorrow, so I may only be able to do one at like 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I'll probably go an hour, hour and a half. And then I probably would do another one, let's say around 2 o'clock 2 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and then probably one more around 4:30, 5 o'clock. So just to give you my schedule for tomorrow. In case you have a friend or someone Now, they don't have to go on the podcast. That's for all of you. That's a gift. The New Health Conversation is for the world to see it, the world to share it, the world to be part of it. Okay, everybody? All right. Well, I'm going to sign off now. I cannot thank all of you, men and women and people, and just thank you very much. I'm so happy that I was able to impact some of your lives and that you learned something. Okay? Bye for now, and I wish you nothing but the best, and obviously encourage you to go to the New Health Conversation. Okay? Bye, everybody.